Hey guys, welcome to a Nomad Sculpt tutorial for beginners. This tutorial is going to be a great place to start if you've never ever used Nomad Sculpt before. Well, saying that, actually, it'll be quite a good place to start no matter what, because you can follow along with me here, and by the end of it we'll have a cool little character that you've made. So things will look like this when you start. You'll have your circle. Your background won't be like this though, it'll be a different colour, but we'll keep it at blue for now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our camera, and normally it's in perspective, but we're going to click on orthographic. The camera view is more of a preference, but I like to use orthographic. Next we're going to click on our shading, and this icon, not this one here, and we're in PBR at the moment, but we want to be in matcap. So here is matcap, and you can see our clay color. You can choose any color from here. We're going to stick with this this brown one. I quickly want to talk about moving around your scene. If you click up here on gestures and see here, normally when you're in Nomad Sculpt, when you first start, you'll be able to move around the scene with your pencil and your finger. And if you like headaches, keep it as it is, but if you don't like headaches, then turn that off, because it'll be a hell of a lot easier, trust me. Right, let's add some more shapes into our scene so we can start building our character. So we click up on here, we can see that we click on add, and we've got all these different shapes that we can use. Let's add in a cube. Oh, that little notification up there is our autosave. So it's saving the project for us. Let's just name this project new character. Okay, so yeah, when you add in a shape, you add in any of these shapes, once you've put it in, like I've just put the cube in, you have to validate it. So we have this green tick up here, so we're going to click validate, and now we have all of our sculpting options here in the top right. So we're going to click on Gizmo. Gizmo allows us to move our object and change the shape and size, so we're going to make a little rectangle here. Oh yeah, this cube at the top right here, this is so we can snap to view. So it's quite useful if you want to snap to the front of your character. Click on the front, click on the top, snap to the top. Yeah, and you get the picture. It's a really handy tool. The gestures to undo are 2-finger tap, and the gesture to redo is 3-finger tap. So if you use Procreate on the iPad, you'll be very familiar with that. Okay, let's get to maneuvering our shapes a little bit. So we're going to start maneuvering things around so we can start forming our character. So let's bring the sphere above our floor. So the sphere is going to be the body of our character. So we'll click on here, and let's just rename this to body. Keep things nice and organized. And the floor, we're going to rename that floor. Okay, let's just bring a bit closer. Let's just bring our body above, and then let's add in some legs. So we're going to use a sphere. Now let's move our sphere into the position that we want. So we're going to click on Gizmo. I'm going to move this leg. And unless you want your character to be one-legged, we're going to want another leg. So we'll click up here and click on mirror, and that will mirror exactly what we're doing on the other side of our model. So we're going to be using this for legs and arms. You can see the mirror there above sphere. If I move sphere above this mirror part, you see it will stop working, so it needs to be beneath it. So yeah, we'll just maneuver our legs into position, make them roughly the shape that we want. Let's just name this quickly. We're going to name it legs. And we'll name the mirror as well. We'll name that legs too. Let's just get this into a rough position that we're happy with. What we're going to be doing firstly with this character is just getting our general shapes down. Then I'll show you how to use the sculpting tools to mould things a bit better into more of an exact shape. But with any sort of character that you're making, you'll be just getting the general shapes down first. So yeah, I'm just going to make them a little bit longer. Make sure you're moving around your model. Let's validate that quickly. I'm happy with that positioning. Okay, so this is our move tool. Move tool, this is our radius of the move tool and the intensity. So just have it sort of similar to where I have mine. You can play around with it. You see, we're able to adjust our legs to the shape that we want. We can also move our body. Let's bring his little belly down. Let's make a little pear shape. Bring his bottom out. Oh yeah, so as I'm on the body, you see we've got this symmetry on. You can see that red line there in the middle. Symmetry means that we can do symmetrical movements on our object. So it's really useful for character modeling because we're going to want everything to be symmetrical. So let's just bring this up a little bit. You can play around, your character can look however you want it to look. I'm just going to have fun moving this body shape around a little bit. Okay, yeah, let's bring some a little bit at the top there. Let's bring the hips out a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So let's go ahead and validate that. So we click validate on the legs, we click join children, and we're going to click yes. Basically the children means that we've got two objects, we want to join them together, so we'll hit yes, and now you can see that's just one object now. So if I click on Gizmo, you can see they both move together. Let's just undo that. Right, so see our feet here, they sort of sink into the floor. We don't want that, so we're going to get rid of that by using our trim tool. So here's our trim tool. We're going to slice underneath here so it gives it a nice flat surface where his feet are standing. So I like to use the rectangle there and just draw along the line of the floor. You'll see the feet now are flat with the floor. Trim tool's really handy. Let's have a look. You see, butterfingers, eh? That's it, that's perfect. Right, now then, let's add in some more body parts. So let's make a head. Let's bring that up to where we want. Bring it down. Okay. Let's bring it this way a little bit. Squish it down, raise it up. So validate that. Now let's use our move tool to maneuver our face shape. So you can have fun with this, and you can give them a big head, small head, however you like. We'll move around, make sure we're looking from all areas to make sure we have the shape that we want. So I'll bring it down a little bit, bring it back just a smidge. Let's give him some chubby cheeks. There we go. Bring that back a bit. Yeah. Like I say, you can have fun with the move tool. Let's just flatten this bit. We're going to make a little area here. I'm just going to flatten it. You see that flattens? Like that. You can see it makes it a little bit rough. See the roughness? We can use our smooth tool, and our smooth tool will make that nice and smooth. Clear that area up a little bit. You'll find when you're modelling, you'll use the smooth tool quite a bit. Okay, so let's rename this head. There you go. And let's put the head on top. I won't use my finger. Pop that there. Okay. Next, let's add in some chubby little arms. Click mirror. Let's use our gizmo, and we will maneuver these spheres into some rough arm shapes. Let's make them a bit thinner, give them a bit of an angle. I'm sure throughout this tutorial you'll even see me make a few little mistakes here and there, but that's part of the process. So we'll just move these arms into shape. Let's bring this out a little bit. Just rotate it. Yeah. Let's bring it forward a little bit. Just do that. There we go. It's got some chubby arms. I think we're going to make a little tubby character, I think. Bring that in. So yeah, you can really play around. You could have longer arms on your character. You could have even shorter arms, or however you want. So we'll rename that arms. There we go. And as you can see now, we've got a nice little organised section here. We'll rename the mirrors as well. This is a lot easier. Say if you have loads of different objects of your character, like the hair, and you get really complex, you're going to want everything named, because when it comes to editing things, you're going to want to know where everything is. So it's really good to do that from the get-go. Okay, so let's just use our move tool and move our arms into shape. So we'll bring the shoulders up a little bit. Let's bring his arms back a tiny bit. Let's bring in some rough elbow sort of shape. Bring the shoulders forward. Bring them down just a little bit. Okay, so we'll use our gizmo and we'll just rotate those in. I think the combination of using your gizmo and your move tool is very useful for modelling. Okay, I'm quite happy with that so far. Let's just bring that down. Okay, let's just smooth that out a little bit. Make him nice and smooth. Yeah, we're getting some rough character shape. So I'm going to use the flatten tool now. I'm going to use this flatten tool at the bottom of his arm to make a palm. So we'll just get rid of the floor so we can look up at the bottom of our arm here. Zoom in and we'll use this flatten tool. So bring the radius up a little bit, and yeah, we'll just flatten this out. And I like to flatten this area just so it gives me an area to work with. It's like a palm, so we can then poke some little fingers out, which I'll show you. So smooth that out now. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, just flatten that back a bit there, that's fine. Smooth it out again. You'll find that you'll be using the smooth tool quite a bit. So now we're going to use this inflate tool to make some fingers and thumbs. So let's make a little thumb here. And we'll just bring that up. As you use the inflate tool, it'll stack clay on top of it. And you can create this. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's make some of her little stumpy fingers. Go, how many fingers should we go for? I think maybe 4. So add another one here. There we go. Little stumpy fingers. Let's bring the thumbs down a little. Okay. Got some chubby hands there. Now let's smooth that out. You'll find as well with the smooth tool, it'll push back any areas that you've protruded. So if you've brought something out, you want it to go back a bit, you can use the smooth tool to push that back in. Okay, so let's do a little voxel remesh of our character. This basically adds more vertices to our character. So we'll just quickly validate the arms. Ooh, there we go, another mistake. Join children, yes, there we go. Now we're one object. Now let's voxel remesh. So I always like to go to 200. This makes our clay more dense, gives it more vertices, which means it's more maneuverable, more moldable. You can move the clay around more. See here, you can see how many vertices. These little squares here. See, now that I've subdivided, it'll add more. You can keep subdividing, but what you'll find is it'll make your scene more memory intensive. So if you've got a lot going on in your scene, it's best to bring the vertices down. So I like to go to voxel remesh 200 and then I auto do that. That works well for me. Or if you just want to quickly add some more vertices, you just click subdivide. There we go, so we subdivided our head there. Okay, let's move this part of the arm in a little bit. Now that I can see his hand, I can see how the arm needs to sit. I'm pretty happy with this so far. So let's add in some more parts to our character. So we'll add in another sphere. Let's mirror that. Let's make some ears. Let's make some funky looking ears. Okay, so let's bring that up. You can play around with your character however you like. You can have 4 ears if you want. You can have really long ears. Loads of tiny ears. That's the fun of making characters. Skip the head there for you because I realised I was messing around with the ears for way too long, and I find that when I'm making characters, as I seem to spend an awful lot of time on the smallest of details. So yeah, I just jump ahead a tiny bit there. So let's just use our move tool and move our face out a little bit, give him a little bit of a chin. And yeah, so we're starting to take form now of our funny, chubby looking character here. So let's go to front view and let's add in, well, let's just make sure we validate these, join children, rename these ears. Okay. Now let's bring our floor back. Let's add in some more parts to our character. So we'll mirror this, bring it to the side a little bit. We're going to flatten it and we're going to make some little feet for our character. So let's go around. Let's just squish it down. You can play around with your character's feet, make them bigger or twist them out a little bit. Squish those in. Okay. Twist them out a little bit. That looks alright. That looks good. I'm happy with that. Okay. As you can see, we've got the same problem we have with our legs going into the floor. So we're going to do what we did with the legs. So let's just join children on that one. Join the feet. Validate. Let's go to our trim tool. Let's click on line. Oh no, we'll go with our rectangle. So let's draw our rectangle where the floor is. And there we go, that flattens our feet with the floor. Okay. There we go, so snap to front, zoom out a little bit. Let's go ahead and name our chubby feet. Let's name those feet, there we go. Okay, let's add in now, go to Gizmo. Let's add in some eyes, or mirror, Gizmo. Bring that down in size. We'll squish it, make it a bit more flat. We'll bring that into position, so we'll bring it in front of his face. There we go. Let's just find the right size and position that we want for his eyes. You can have fun with your character. So I quite like that look of it being quite far apart. So maybe stretch it out a little bit there. Oh, really big. Keep it somewhat small. Yeah, something like that. Just bring it forward a little bit. Okay, so let's validate. Actually, no, we'll leave validate for now. What I'll do is I'll leave that, because I might want to come back and edit a few things later. So we'll rename eyes. Okay, there we go. Our little chubby character is taking form. So now we've got all these separate body parts for our character. So now let's go ahead, move around, let's have a look. See what we can do with our little face. Flatten the front a little bit. Just make some little tweaks now that we've got the eyes in. Let's smooth that back out. Okie dokie. Right, next, let's just rename this mirror. Name that. Okay, now this next part's a great opportunity for me to show you a cool tool, which is the mask tool. Mask tool is a great useful tool. So what you can do is you can mask a certain area, keep symmetry on, using this. We can adjust. But you see how it's quite pixelated? So we're going to go in here and we're going to subdivide, and you'll see that makes a nice smooth difference to our mask. So we're going to use this mask tool to make a little mouth on our character. So voxel remesh, like I said, we'll go 200 there. Okay, so let's use our mask tool now to make the shape of a little mouth. You can go crazy, make your mouth however you want it to look. Go for a nice little mouth. You could go for a big cheesy grin. I'm going to go with something in between. I think we'll just bring the radius down so we can make a little path. That was an interesting one. That looks more like a mustache. Yeah, that could work. Maybe something a bit more like that. It could be better. Okay. So now we've masked that area. And what we can do with masked an area is we can then manipulate that specific zone. So you can have fun masking the mouth and how you want it to look. I might just go in and add in some little thinner lines so we can zoom in a little bit. I think I'll drop the radius down. You can really get quite meticulous with it. So we'll just bring out, give him a little bit more of a smile, make him look a bit happy. There we go. Okay, so we can go to our mask tools here and we want to click on invert. You see that inverts it. Click off that, click on our gizmo now, and you can see we can move into our head mesh to form a mouth. The mask tool is really handy. You'll find it very useful. So there we go, that's our little mouth. Let's bring it back a little bit. Okay, so we can click on mask tools and click clear, and that'll go away. So there's our little mouth. So we're going to use our smooth tool and smooth out the inside of our mouth here. Looks quite rough, so we can use our trusty smooth tool. Okay, if it still doesn't smooth, you could remesh your head, remesh it back into place, and then smooth it all out again. When you edit a mesh, it affects the vertices. When you're doing something like this, when you're using a mask to indent into the mesh, it's going to change the vertices quite a bit, so you can remesh it so then it goes back to normal. So whenever you make a big adjustment to something like the head, you always want to remesh it. Okay, let's add in our inflate tool here, and we'll make some little shapes for the mouth. Sorry, not the inflate, we're using the drag tools, we're dragging the mesh. Okay. Let's go in and do a quick save. Let's add in another sphere. Go to our gizmo. Let's go bring it up a little bit. Let's bring it to where we want. Okay, just gonna squish this down, bring it down towards the mouth. We're going to use these spheres to make maybe I'll just make 2 teeth, I think, in the mouth. We'll go down, make it nice and small. You can have fun, you could have as many teeth as you want in your character. You can go for 10 teeth if you want. I'm going to go for 2 big teeth. Good, so let's just bring that up. I want it sort of sticking out where the lips drop down here. Just click mirror, we go. Just like everything else on our character, we have 2 chubby teeth. Let's make them a little bit thinner, stretch them out a little bit. Okay, just happy with that. Just click on validate. We'll validate that. Join children, yep. Let's rename that teeth. There we go. Okay. So let's add in a few other little bits for our character. Let's add in another sphere. As you can see, I'm using a lot of spheres. Spheres are handy for most shapes and forms for your character. So we're going to do a little tongue here. So we'll squish that down, flatten it and tilt it back in there. It's quite a funny looking tongue. Let's make it just so it tilts down like that. That's better. There we go. Let's validate. Make sure we rename. Just squish this. Let's rename tongue. There we go. Let's go into shading and we'll go back into PBR mode. We'll start getting into some colouring and textures and post-processing for our character now. Okay. So in this section now, we're going to really start to get to the point where we bring our character to life, start adding some colour, and it's going to be fun. So let's select all of our body parts apart from the teeth and the eyes. So we're going to click the ears, the arms, body, legs, and yeah, we'll click down here and you can see we can change the colour and the roughness of our character. So we want to add some roughness to the body parts. Okay, so let's pick a colour, add some roughness, go with any colour that you like. We'll probably change it later on. Let's go with, it's my indecision kicking in again. Let's that's quite nice. Who else has this problem where they can't decide which colour they want? It's probably not just me. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that for now. Oh, we've forgotten his little feet. Paint the feet. Okay, so we need to, okay, so just quickly I want to go ahead and let's go to the inflate tool quickly, and we're going to sculpt just some little subtle details to our character. So we're going to add a little inflate tool around the eyes just to make the eyes look they're more in the head. We can bring the size down, do the same with the lips here. We can add a bit more sort of detail to the mouth. Could add in, you can have fun. Bring that down on here. Looks nice. So let's go ahead and smooth that out a little bit. Almost any move that you make, you'll always find yourself popping in with the smooth tool and smoothing it out a little bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's just change the colour of our tongue. Go for a lighter pink. Okay. Let's change the colour of our body because my indecision's kicking in once again. I want to change it. So let's go with I just can't decide. This is, I bet I'm not the only one that's doing the exact same thing. Following along here, I'm sure you've gone through about 5 different colours. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. No more changing, I promise. Okay, so next thing we want to do is add in some pupils. Okay, so let's click on our eyes and we're just going to go ahead and duplicate by clicking clone. We're going to rename that. I'll just call it something. Doesn't really matter what we call it. We've got all of our body parts down now. So we'll just call it eye. We'll call it eye 1. Okay. Now all we need to do, click on Gizmo. I'm going to bring this. Oh. It's my clumsy hand. change the colour so we can see it. So we're on the right one here. Mirror. Actually, no, don't click mirror. Oh, don't need that. And we're going to paint that. And here we go. So we're going to start adding some funky looking pupils. That looks funny, doesn't it? That's I don't quite like that, but it's a bit out a little bit. Let's push that in. Got a crazy looking character now. As soon as you add pupils to your character, it brings it straight to life. So yeah, you can have fun with the position of your pupils. Quite like that. Make sure we're going nice and shiny so we get some nice reflections. Okay, so let's paint that. Here we go. Quite happy with that. Looking funky. We could go cross-eyed if we wanted to. You can really play around. Go with something like this. Here we go. Yeah. That looks fine now. So let's validate that. Let's click on our head. Make him a little bit more happy. Bring this mouth part down, bring this out. A bit more of a smile. Yeah. He looks happy to be here. Okay, so you can really have some fun with these tools. You can really go in and add in as much detail as you want to your character. For now, I'm going to keep it somewhat simple. Okay. You can even add in a nose if you wanted to. You can bring it right up with the inflate tool. Or you could shape something like that. It's quite funky, isn't it? So with your sculpting tools, you've got a little sub button here. And that just inverts whatever you're doing. So now when we use the inflate tool, it'll push back on the mesh. So we can make some nostrils if we want that. It's quite funny. I'm gonna go without for now. Could even just do some little indentations like that. It's quite funny. Go quite deep. There we go. You can go for 3. Nah. We'll keep it like that for now. Snap to front. Okay, so now we've got all our body parts that are all separate here. But what we can go and do now is we can start merging them together once we're happy with the positioning of them all. So we'll click on everything we want to connect. So we'll connect the head, body, arms, legs. We want the feet, ears, and we click on remesh. So we can remesh it all together. So we'll go to like 260. That'll do. And now we've got it all together. Let's just call that body for now. So that's all of our section. Now we can go around our body now and smooth out the areas that we want. So we'll just smooth in all that. Get rid of any roughness. Just maybe you want to be careful, don't smooth out too many areas where you want those creases to be. We'll smooth out a few bits maybe under the neck here. here, smooth that. Okay. Okie dokie. So now let's go to our camera. We're going to add a camera. And we're going to rename this. Call it front. So that's the front point, so we can go into our camera settings, we can click on that and it'll snap to that viewpoint. Okay, let's go to our environment, let's click off environment and we're going to add in a light. So we're going to rename this light. I'm going to call it key light. Let's bring up the intensity. Bring it to just over 200. We want to add softness. I just prefer having softer shadows. Okay, we're going to clone that. Okay, let's rename this light fill light. Go to our gizmo. Let's just maneuver this light so we can show our light icons so we can see where our lights are. So we can change this light to, we can have it as a sun. Keep it like this for now. Okay. So you see this little arrow here, that's the direction of our light. So we're going to bring it out a little bit. Let's drop the intensity down. Okay, we'll bring it down a little bit more. We can add another light and we'll make this a spotlight. We're going to bring this light behind our character. Just adjust here and we're going to bring it back. We want this light to be shining behind and giving our character a bit of a highlight. So it's useful to go to the top viewpoint to look at this. So you see this orange one, so you've got the green one to maneuver the light and the orange one is for size. So this orange one here makes it bigger. Okay, so let's bring the intensity up for this. Okay, so snap to front and I want this light to give a nice highlight behind my character. So bring the intensity up, bring it to the side a little bit. You can go either side. I'm gonna keep it on this side. Okay. You can also add softness to this one. Okay. You see it adds that nice little highlight effect there at the back. You can bring it, you can really have fun playing with your lighting to bring a bit of more realism to your character or any object. The intensity up, you can really have fun and tweak and play with things. You can try different sides. I think I prefer the other side. There's no real right or wrong with lighting. This is a lighting setup that I really enjoy, that works for me. But you can really play around and see what works for you. We'll keep that there. Okay. So now we can add another one. just off to this side. We'll have it swivel round. Bring the intensity down a little bit. We can change the colour of this one. Go with whatever colour we like. I think I might go with we'll go with a colour that matches the character a little bit. So we'll go up to like a light pink maybe. Okay. Snap to front, I'm quite happy with that. Like I said, with lighting you can play around. You don't need to have too many lights. I think 4, 5 max really, you don't really need much more. So we'll click on our environment. And that's our environment adding in now to the lighting. Turn environment off, it's just our lights. Now, I'm going to show you a few different post-process settings. So we'll click back on our environment. We've got a lot going with our lights, so we don't need too much environment. So we'll bring down the exposure of this environment. I'm going to keep it because I quite like the reflection of the environment in the eyes. It's quite useful. See that shine there in the eyes? That's coming from our environment. See there? We'll bring it down because I quite like the lighting that's from my lights. Okay, so let's go into some post-processing settings now. Click on post-process. We've got a whole array of settings. So I think here you might be on none, but we're going to go on standard. I'll keep it on standard, I think. So you can really play around with some of these settings. There's an awful lot. I remember when I first used Nomad Sculpt, it didn't have half of these things, so it's really cool to see that the app is constantly being updated and these things are being added. So you can do ambient occlusion, you've got depth of field, you've got, look, it's ridiculous, you've got so many things you can play around with it. You can have a lot of fun. Depth of field, handy, you just tap on your object and you can have things in focus and out of focus, so you have more realism there. I don't think I'll play around with that too much. Okay, we've got sharpness. So yeah, I'm going to leave the post-processing settings for now because, as you've seen before, I probably will be spending far too long on it. But you can have fun and play with those. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to export your character. So first we click on here, we're going to save, so we click save. You'll see the image at the top changes to where you're at now in your project. So that's good. And also here from this section you can open up previous projects. You can add things from other projects. You click on open, you'll see all your other previous ones. So you've got your export settings, so if you want to export to Blender, you can do GLTF. You've got your render settings, custom, you can do transparent background, many different options here for exporting. What I'm going to do is at the end of this video, I'm going to export a 4K render for you to see at the end. Before I render anything, I go to here and I make sure that my quality is right the way up. So we're going to go into our render settings, do 4K. You can see it crops out this little view here. So this will be our render view. So I'm going to push them back a little bit. I think I'm happy with that. That looks about where I want it to be. And yeah, so you just click on export and you'll see it loading now, and that's it. That's your render exporting. So yeah, there's your character. please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or any social media and show me what character you've made if you followed along with this video. And yeah, I hope you had fun. I'm going to add in a quick little time lapse to show you what other little details you can add to your character, and I'll show the final render in 4K at the end. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this beginner's tutorial for Nomad Sculpt. I hope you learned a few things, and I'd really appreciate it if you could like this video and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. This is my first sort of long form speaking video, and I'm not the most confident on speaking on camera, as you can probably tell, but if you made it this far, I really appreciate that you stuck around. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and yeah, happy sculpting. See you later.